I should have had this video out a long time ago, but quite frankly, I needed a break from Helldivers 2, and then the whole Sony thing happened, so I just didn't feel like it. But now, here we are. And we're going to talk about the changes that they made to patrols in patch 1.000.300. You might remember this was the big balance patch a couple weeks ago. It changed a bunch of stuff with weapons, stratagems, and fixed a bunch of things. But the part that is important to us is what they did to patrols. And real quick, I'll just point out that the mechanics that we've outlined in our earlier videos and posts have not changed. As you do stuff on the map, patrol spawn rates increase. If you destroy all outposts, it increases spawn rates by a little bit. If you complete the main mission objectives, it increases patrol spawn rates by a lot. All that is the same. Spawn blocking still works, though they did change the distribution of some locations on the map. So sometimes you might have extractions a little bit further from the edge, which means maybe you won't get accidental empty extractions quite as much. And you might, if you want to intentionally block, you might have to chain spawn bubbles, but spawn blocking absolutely still works. The changes that were made all had to do with timings, specifically timings for solo, duo, and trio games. So let's look at exactly what they wrote. Arrowhead says, we unintendedly had non-linear scaling of the patrol spawns, so they didn't spawn as often as they should have when less than 4 players. The intention is that 1 player has 1/4 of the patrols compared to 4 players, but it used to be that they had 1/6. Then they say they did balancing adjustment to patrol spawning, and patrol spawning has been increased when there are fewer than 4 players. The fewer the players, the bigger the change. For 4-player missions, there will be no change compared to before. The biggest noticeable change will be for solo players at higher difficulties. Well, that's easy enough to test. So once again, we used level 4 bots as our baseline and hopped into some solo, duo, and trio matches to see what the changed rates were. Here's what we found. Before the patch, a solo player would see a patrol every 4 minutes and 5 seconds. After the patch, it's now 2:45. 2 players would see a patrol every 3 minutes and 24 seconds. After the patch, it's now 2:45. 3 players would see a patrol every 3 minutes and 3 seconds. After the patch, it's, yep, you guessed it, 2:45. In case you're curious, that 2:45 number is just the 4-player patrol spawn rate. There is no scaling based on player anymore. Now, no matter how many players you have in the match, you just get the same rate that 4 players get. And yes, after we saw these results, we tested it at different levels, and it seemed to be consistent at whatever level we tried it. So now, no matter what difficulty you're playing at, the 4-player spawn rate is now just the spawn rate for all squad sizes. So let's look at those patch notes again. Arrowhead said they wanted to make it so that 1 player has 1/4 the patrols compared to 4 players. But it used to be that it was 1/6. And now it's not, it's still not really that, you know? Like, if you're in a 4-player match and everybody's split 100% of the time, then yeah, each player gets 1 patrol. And so you could kind of see how, yeah, if you're in a solo game, that means you're only getting 1 patrol, where if you're in a quad game, each player's getting a patrol, so you're getting 1/4. But that's not really how the game works. Like, you could be split, but you're rarely split all the time for the entire match. So this doesn't even make really any sense. And that's not even getting into the why they did this. Like, who is this change for? Like, who is out there being like, those damn solo players have had it too easy for too long? Like, solo was already the hardest way to interact with the game. A lot of playing solo came down to luck. Only certain loadouts really worked. You couldn't just take any old weapon into a solo game and expect the same amount of success that you would have in a 4-player game. It was unquestionably more difficult, and now it's even more so. They nearly doubled the spawn rates for solo. Like, that's insane. And I just look at this change and I'm like, does this improve the game? Like how does this make the game better? For whom is it better now? I just don't understand. And they say that the non-linear scaling was unintentional. And I'm just like, who cares? It worked fine. In fact, I thought the scaling was really good before. Again, like, solo was legitimately very difficult, and the game got progressively easier at the same level as you added more players to your squad, because having access to more stratagems and more weapons was always the better option than like, oh, well, you're solo, so your patrol rate's a bit slower. Like 4 players was always the easiest, just because you have more options to deal with threats. So again, like, with all the other problems that the game has, like why was this even put on the drawing board? I just don't understand their thinking here. Like I don't understand what problem they think they're fixing with this. Because I don't see this being, I mean, you're already seeing it on Reddit and other places, like people complaining like why is solo so ridiculous now? Or like, I've been playing duos with my friends forever and now it's insanely hard. I just don't see the average player having asked for this. I just don't know who this is for. And we're seeing kind of the same thing with like weapons or the earlier stratagem problems. You know, just use your stratagems, bro. Like with all the negative modifiers and stuff. I just don't think Arrowhead knows what they're doing when it comes to any kind of balance, or even just like having a vision for how they want the game to play. It just seems like a lot of these changes are arbitrary, and I just don't. Again, like, does this improve the game? I don't think so. You know, it's a PvE game. I don't care what. Like, if I'm playing with my friends, I don't really care if some dude is soloing and like being successful. You know, it has no effect on me whatsoever. And now, like, I enjoyed solo every now and then. I soloed 9s a few times. It was really hard and I wasn't very successful. But now I don't really see myself trying to do that anymore unless they change it again somehow. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do a quick video to kind of explain these changes and show that we had tested it. Like I said, I've seen complaints about this change, so we just kind of wanted to explain what's going on. And that is, they got rid of scaling for based on squad size. So there it is. If you watched till the end and listened to my dumb rant, thank you. And we'll see you next time.